me, dog. Look,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah,
put
yeah.
this on Do Not Disturb real quick, cause you know
Hopefully,
how.
my junk not on do not stir, so we're just gonna hope for the best.
Hey, hope for the best on
Uh,
this. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Watch, I
nigga think it's
immediately
crazy.
start getting calls.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I was like, let me go ahead and throw this junk on Do Not Disturb because I know a
Yeah.
text message is right around the corner, bro.
Ripside, I'm like, all right, we're gonna cut your clip right there. Start you back
Right.
off at 0. Like, hey, you can see me
If I had a
still here,
dollar,
bro.
if I had a dollar for every time we've been recording and somebody's just like, I just want to call this nigga Genzo real quick, see what he's on to, like what he's doing, bro. I'm like, hey, don't do that, bro. Especially not around
How
this
many
time.
episodes we have? 8. So yeah, I'll have
We're at
$8.
9 now. Yeah, we're at 9 now.
You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
this
at
will be not
$8. Yeah.
episode 9. I
Honestly,
don't
I
want to
would
try to
probably
jinx
have
it.
probably have like 16 or 17, bro. I done got some double calls mid
Oh yeah,
mid
yeah,
combo. But yeah.
yeah. I remember one time I saw somebody call me, I immediately hit X. And I was like, nope, they still cut my junk. They're like, all right, now we saw that. We saw that. We saw you had a call.
Slick, 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 slick,
I
slick.
think it was somebody from OGGR too. I was like, God dang, bro. Now?
Yeah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah. I was about to say anyway. Uh Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us back here with you, or thanks for being here with us. This is Nerd Cap. All right, you already know I am your host, Genzo Sama, and my co-host, the greater half of myself. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
I don't know when I got demoted to co-host, but
I want to say, how does co-host work? Is co-host like under the host, or is it like
yeah, hey,
side by
I don't
side?
know. It just felt like it was lower tier. I'm like, hey, it's my show and this is my co-host over here.
Hey, I'm in it 50-50. All right. We share the same, well, we don't share the same responsibilities. All right. Honestly speaking, it's more like a 60-40. More like a 60-40. I show up and this man handles the rest. All right. So hey,
Oh, John.
if you want to know about why the editing's so good, why everything looks so crisp and funny, your boy DJ be out here handling all the Hey, I just bring the funny, buddy.
It was welcome to the Genzo show. My co-host DJ.
Welcome to the Genzo show, starting Genzo and his circus monkey, DJ his circus monkey. Nah, bro.
Hey, well, a bunch of ladies come out the back with like Genzo shirts. I'm like, what happened? Hey, what happened to Nerd Cap?
Right.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
fuck Nerd Cap. I'm here for the Genzo show.
Yeah, when does that come on? Oh,
Anyway,
Chuck. But no, yeah, this is the DJ of Nerd Cap, equal partner.
the other 50%
No.
of the 100%. Oh shit, bro.
No.
Well, with that being
But
said, we're probably not going to be before y'all long. We got a couple of topics. The main topic we're here to talk about. Let's go ahead and slice into this pork roast of a podcast. Damn, I didn't even notice.
Hey, look, somebody wasn't prepared here.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. The funny part is, I have literally no Superman paraphernalia at all. Okay. First things first.
I
Let me
ripped
go
this
ahead
off
and
when
just.
it's Batman. I was like, I'm kind of ready for anything. Hey, look. Hey, you want to talk about Goku? All
Hey,
right.
I'm here for any genre. But no,
Oh,
bro.
no.
So anyway, and we're here because let me first go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Anybody looking at this, I am not a
Oh, Chuck. Oh, man.
Oh shit.
Oh, no.
Listen, bro. If you're just hearing this and you can't see it, bro, this nigga got a Superman shirt on, a Vegeta Batman fucking a fucking hat on, and I looked away for 2
Oh,
seconds,
no.
and this nigga was holding a baby Yoda, bro. I don't know if this nigga even got that from, bro.
Oh no.
Oh my god. Oh, this is gonna be a stupid episode. This is gonna be dumb. Oh man. Given the fact I also have a little a little juice in my system. I'm not gonna say what kind of juice, but a little juice in my system.
Little
Oh man, it's gonna
OJ,
be
the special guy.
yeah. A little a little OJ the juice man pause. Anyway, so past that though. Let it be known, I am not a fan of Superman. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I used to be a fan of Superman when I was growing up. Space, basically, or mainly the Justice League Superman, Justice League Unlimited animated Superman. You know, regular Boy Scout, super strong, stands for everything that's right. That's Superman I grew up with. Once Superman started doing a bunch of bullshit like holding infinity and being able to, I don't know, fucking survive past kryptonite, and he lost all his weaknesses to kryptonite magic. Once they started basically making Superman a guy who doesn't know he's a god, but basically can just adapt to everything and become the strongest nigga ever. I
Because
stopped
then he
caring about
like hold
Superman.
up like either Earth or the universe, and like he took the place of Atlas or something for a
Yeah,
bit.
he was holding like the heavens and shit. Once they started making
Yeah.
Superman basically God, once they started making him Allah, basically, I stopped caring. I basically stopped caring about Superman because I couldn't relate anymore. Bro's kind of chopped at that point. So basically, from that point, I just stopped caring about Superman. And this whole little debate we're about to have right here, I am a fan of the new James Gunn Superman. All right. And DJ is more so a fan of the Zack Snyder Superman. I know it's been like a big thing going
Superman
on.
movie.
Whatever. he's,
Well,
he's,
I'll get into the specifics later, but yeah.
right. You go
You
explain
basically
yourself when
got
I'm done here, buddy.
it.
All right. So anyway, I am a fan of the
Yeah.
James Gunn iteration of
Yeah.
Superman. It's been a long time since I've seen a Superman property outside of the animated stuff. Because like I said, I love animated Superman. It's been a long time since I've seen a Superman on the big screen or just in comics in general, where I've been like, damn, I really feel for this Superman. Like the way a lot of y'all feel for Superman, I don't feel. But when James Gunn Superman came out, it's something about watching bro be actually human for once. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time since bro's been human to me. See him struggle and fight some like, you know, actual threats that aren't dark side of a fourth or fifth dimensional being, shit like that. Seeing him actually just have a fight, see him struggle, seeing him be more human, seeing him have those heroic characteristics. I know a lot of people didn't like when he saved the squirrel in the movie. I fuck with it. I like watching that movie. I felt that like sensibility. I felt like a kid again watching it. And I know a lot of y'all have a lot of hate in your heart because you're like, I hate Zack Snyder so much that, you know, James Gunn, anything that's not Zack Snyder is good. I don't believe that. James Gunn is a freaky frog. He is a sexual salamander. He is a he is a freaky guy. All right, but I do like what he did with Superman. Zack Snyder. I like Zack Snyder's work. I prefer like his brother Scott Snyder with his comics and shit like that. Zack Snyder is a little too dark, a little too gritty. I feel like he did Batman right, but trying to make everybody dark and gritty, that's another story for another day. Regardless of the fact, I prefer the James Gunn iteration of Superman. DJ prefers the Zack Snyder version of Superman and Man of Steel. So we're just here to talk about it because a lot of people have been in discourse and disarray, roasting each fandom of whatever. So, like I said, that's my first starting piece. Brother, go ahead and let everybody know what you think about the inferior Superman.
Anyway, so like Jinzo was saying, like Jinzo was saying, I do prefer like when it comes to the films. I thought the Superman movie was good. I'm not gonna be like, oh, no, that Superman movie like so. No, that's not later for me. I actually definitely enjoyed it. Now, if you go back to the previous podcast or previous TikTok wherever you're watching it, I did give it a 7.7, which I think is still decent. I mean, that's passing. No, I think it was still good. I still enjoy the film, enjoy the theater experience. I'm glad we saw it in Dolby Cinema instead of IMAX actually, because it definitely hit like those hits actually hit more. I feel like honestly it might have been like a little less for me if I didn't see it in Dolby. So I'm glad we did that. Dolby Cinema. Yes, I do prefer the Man of Steel film. I will say, you know, I think they did their thing with the actual Superman character in this one. Like you're talking about like the animated, it was more like that, akin to that type of superhero like from the comics. You know, I didn't mind even the saving the squirrel thing. He did the little bit of that touch of that. I didn't mind that. I will say I don't know if you got to see recently some of the behind the scenes stuff. Like even David Cornsweet and like James Gunn, they was having like in that scene where he was
Oh, I saw
about to
that. Yeah,
talk to Lex at
I
the end.
saw it.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
backcourt
saw it.
him and James Gunn was doing. I'm like, that kind of really makes the film. It shows that they're both passionate about it, even if they have like a slight, even they're trying to figure out what to do with the character. I like to see that passion about the character. They was really trying to nail Superman to the best of their abilities, of course, and I like that. Like I said, I think it was a solid film. Now, as a film itself, I do prefer like Man of Steel, as a film. Now, I think, and one thing, a good thing about Superman has this Superman 2025 film had the advantage of hindsight. As we already know, hindsight is 2020. So after you got like years of people berating different things like that, it's like saying, I don't know, if you make somebody a pie in like 2020, and for 5 years they didn't tell you everything they didn't like about the pie. Then you just when you make the next person makes the pie, we're just gonna like, all right, let's just do everything opposite of that pie. You're like, yeah, they're gonna like it.
Yeah,
So
for
like
sure, for sure, for sure.
hindsight is definitely like 2020. So they did have that advantage. Now I'm not gonna take that away from them because somebody can then argue, well, yada yada had hindsight of the other films. But I think what really happened with Man of Steel was more so a product of the times of like the studio rather than a lot of other things people complain about, because I feel like if this Superman came out during that time and was still by James Gunn, it definitely wouldn't have been as dark under James Gunn. Even though James Gunn, he can go a little bit darker, it's not Zack Snyder type of dark, it's different types. It
There's no
definitely
type of
would have
darkness
been,
like Zack Snyder's darkness, bro. Zack
yeah, it would have
Zack
been
Snyder
different.
invented darkness.
But I do think it'll still been more so of a origin. I don't think that he would have dived right into this whole um universe with all the other characters. What kind of really elevated this film, I think he would have made it a little bit more standalone. Because you got to think, even with like Guardians of the Galaxy, just think about what he did for the MCU. Like even though that was like ensemble with different things, he really he didn't do that with Suicide Squad. Was a little bit different. It was a little more little things going on, but with the MCU, he really kind of liked just dealing with those characters and kind of telling their story outside of really what was going on outside the MCU. Because like when I think he even complained about what they did with those characters in like the Avengers films, the Infinity War. He was like, yeah, I kind of just had to bounce off that and then just kind of bounce back to my own thing. Cause if you remember Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like that Thor thing, that got wrapped up. No, excuse me. Love and Thunder. Was that when he kind of dipped out from Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe?
Yeah, Love and Thunder.
Basically,
Yeah,
whatever happened in Avengers with the Guardians of the Galaxy, that junk got wrapped up like immediately. I was like, all right, he was like back to original programming. So I definitely feel like if the Superman movie came out earlier, it would be more of a standalone thing. But it's still good that they did this. But we know that the reason is to kind of still match with this already big connected universe in Marvel, and with Superman, it's perfect character to do that because he's kind of like a anchor of DC. That's my without getting into all the details yet. I know I've spent a lot of time just on the intro part. I'll let you kind of go from there.
Yeah, so first things first, let me make sure I make this very clear. I don't hate Man of Steel, and DJ doesn't hate the new Superman. It's more so just we fall on two different sides of the fence in terms of which one is better. That's all.
Yeah.
Like I can still watch Man of Steel and then still be like, okay, this is a Superman film, blah blah blah. But if somebody came up, if somebody walked in and was like, hey, which one's better? That's where we, fall on opposite sides. But I think we can both find the good in both films. For sure. But if I had to go ahead and just start slinging mud, Paul Kent is a hoe because that nigga sat there and got told by a fucking twister. Let's just go ahead and start right there. Paul Kent, the first Superman, James Gunn Superman did it right by having Paul Kent not be a complete I don't know, edgelord or a farmer or whatever the fuck that man was trying to do in that movie. Because bro sat there and said, Clark, wait, they don't love you like I love you. And that
What you
nigga
didn't
sat
see
there
in
and
Man
let
of Steel, what you didn't see in Man of Steel is Paul Kent had crippling amount of debt.
hey, Paul Kent was ready to die at any moment.
You remember, bro, they was already on the verge of losing the farm. Can you remember in Batman vs Superman or at the end of that movie, like Bruce,
Yeah,
like
he bought the farm and shit.
yeah. Paul Kent had crippling amounts of debt. He was ready to go. So.
Hey, Paul Kent said, "Please, this is a canon event." Bro said, "Wrong universe, buddy. Wrong universe."
bro. That man owed Lex Corp $3 million, bro. He's like,
Yeah,
don't
bro.
save me. Don't
Hey,
save me.
Paul Kent was ready to get up out of there at any
Yeah,
moment, bro.
absolutely.
So that's the first part right there. Let me just go ahead and
Uh-huh.
throw that out there. I'm so glad that James Gunn's Paul Kent was grounded, loved his son and his family, did not want to die at a moment's notice,
And his debts were paid off.
and his debts were paid off, bro. Hey, bro was making good farm money. All right, that's the first thing right there. Let me throw that out there.
Different economy, different times, y'all, different times.
Right. So let's just jump right there. From there, let's
Okay.
just talk about the cast, right? I feel like James Gunn's Superman had a far better cast than Zack Snyder's.
Okay. So are you counting like all like the extra different characters they had, like Green
Lois,
Lantern, all that? Just
Lois, Jimmy Olsen,
Mhm.
the weird chick who said she had like weird feet that she was with like Lex Luthor. The
Yeah.
chick who was like
Okay.
on Jimmy's meat the whole time. Lex Luthor was, if we want to be real, and this may be a hot take. Hey,
Mhm.
comment section, let us know. All right. Hey, blow it up, send it to your friends, get everybody's opinion on it. I preferred Lex Luthor's manic ridiculousness over Zod's serious, weirdly Scottish, even though I know he was like, I know he's Kryptonian, but for some reason, bro just kept coming off as Scottish to me.
Mhm.
And the way he just kept frowning his brow.
Mhm.
Lex Luthor just hit differently than Zod did. I did like Zod because Zod was pushing the Man of Steel Superman to his limits, but Lex Luthor was like way better, bro, in my opinion.
And
Funny, yes. But better, yes. That's just me. That's
I
just
prefer
me. That's just
now.
me.
Okay, here's the catch with this. I
Uh,
prefer like the villain Zod for that Superman, for that Man of Steel film. This Lex Luthor definitely worked for this one, and this Lex Luthor is definitely better than
oh,
I
yeah.
was it Eisenberg.
What's the face?
It Jesse Eisenberg is definitely better
Yeah,
than
Facebook.
his
Mark
Lex
Zuckerberg.
Luthor. So that's not really even the comparison because his Lex
Yeah,
Luthor is just far superior.
yeah.
So, but as a villain, I definitely still preferred uh the Zod. Um, for a couple different reasons.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go to Superman. Lex Luthor definitely worked for this film. He was a good villain for the film. I'm glad they finally did it right, like the human versus
Mm-hmm.
that it was kind
Alien.
of yeah. I did like all his lines and all that such. But I actually do. It's kind of hard because it's kind of so different in a way. I just
Yeah.
preferred it. I just prefer what they did in that particular film. I would have rather the Lex thing it happened like maybe not this particular film. I know they're already kind of in it because you got to think with Zod and all people that say Zod, oh, he just kind of faced like another meathead pretty much, and he just had bouts.
Mm.
Um, but it was actually a little bit more than that. 'Cause everything with Zod, his planet, like he was literally born and bred just like be a military person to protect his planet, to make sure his planet like lives on. That was his like he literally said, hey, that's my purpose, my sole purpose for existence. So that was his whole thing. So you can kind of almost understand his like anger towards Jor-El because he literally put like literally the codex, the DNA of all of Krypton selfishly in his kid and sent his kid to another planet. So like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so when Zod gets to Earth, I was like, he don't care about Earth, but he just like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure that Krypton like survive. Like we lost all the people and you're the last set. And we see Clark or Cal would be like, I kind of mess with the Earthlings. Like, who cares about Krypton? And literally
Oh,
carrying all the DNA of like freaking Earth. Yeah, man, Zod spazzed out completely in that movie. He was like, all right, bro. So I'm just make new Krypton on top of Earth, on top of the bones
yeah.
everybody here. Not saying
Yeah.
it was like right, of course, but like
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
like I think people just kind of look at the film like, okay, it was just like, brawn for brawn. But no, he actually had like a legit, reason. Like, say if if something happened to Earth, you go to freaking, I don't know, Mars, I'm like, all right, we can have,
Terrifying.
Earth back. Yeah, we can have Earth back. And then the last person who has a DNA of Earth is like, Nah, the Martian's kind of cool actually. So like it was
Yeah,
literally
that
that.
would piss me off.
Uh,
That would piss me off a little bit. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
For
it was
sure, for
literally
sure.
that. So people don't think
For sure.
reading a little bit enough into like actually Zod's reason, and also too, you gotta remember in that system that they painted for Krypton too, that whole like lore, which I actually did love that for the lore for Krypton, that whole beginning scene in Man of Steel. It kind of actually gave Krypton like life and not just a afterthought. Yeah, Krypton, you know, it usually like, okay, yeah, Krypton blew up, yada yada yada. It actually showed like, yeah, these are actually like people who had like a society, and due to the selfishness of their government, literally just caused it just to explode. um, but yeah, with Zod, it was like his one true purpose, the reason he was like literally born, his one job was literally kind of like taken away from him. For a good reason, you know. But
Yeah.
I don't think people look as deep into it, like how they doing like with Lex with his like lines and everything. I don't think they give Zod enough credit to as a villain in that film.
I mean, here's the thing about that, right? So Zod, I do feel like people don't give Zod enough credit for sure. I'll definitely give him that. Given the fact that like the main thing I like about Zod is the fact that he pushed Superman to like his brink. Like, bro,
Yeah.
literally felt like when Zod said, like, listen, either you're gonna kill me or I'm about to fuck this whole planet up. So you only got one or two. You only got two options here, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I felt that for real because I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The way bro's kind of like moving right now, he's dead serious. It's either, hey,
Yeah.
you either kill this man or he's gonna tear Earth apart and make new Krypton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing I did like about Clark. Now, not Clark, but Zod. But here's the thing, right? So let's just go instead of going band for band. Let's go intro for intro, right? Because I remember you talking about like how they show Krypton and everything. I had to make sure I pulled up. I don't know if niggas heard my typing, but I had to make sure I pulled this up.
Before I go there too,
Go
I want to
ahead.
say, since you mentioned that fight, I want to say technically that was like what's called Superman's first like fight as
Actual
Superman.
legitimate fight,
Like and this Superman he's been doing it 3 years, so we didn't really see his initial things. I know he didn't like lose.
Right.
Was technically Superman didn't lose either, but he
lost.
it was a lot of damn. He lost a lot of people, but
Right.
he technically didn't lose the fight.
Well, first of all, him losing a lot of people was on his own fight. It was his fault, by the way. Superman, here's the thing. Anybody
first fight, by the way.
first fight, yeah, I'll give him that. First fight. But at the same time, bruh, Pa Kent told you, like, he was giving you all the things you need to do to know, like, he gave you all the information to know, like, hey, protect people at all costs, right?
Then
This nigga had a Dragon Ball Z level battle. He had a damn near Namek Saga battle in the middle of Metropolis. He probably killed more people than he saved. I'm playing. But bro bodied so many people because he was like, if you go back and look at that movie, that nigga was throwing Zod into cars, buildings. Bro had no concern for human life. So that's already right there. I know it's your first fight, but goddamn, like, nigga, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know that people work in these buildings, bro. That like we're not gonna give super.
Hell did the math. It was like, hey, either 7 billion skeletons or a couple thousand.
Brother, my thing is, even Goku, right? Take Goku. Even Goku, as dumbed down as Goku is, as like, carefree, and I hate to make the Goku Superman comparison, but we got to right here. The fact, at the point when Goku becomes a more strategic and smarter character than Superman is insane. Goku be like, hey, there's niggas here. Let's go somewhere else. That's always his move. Let's get the fuck out the city. Let's go to a wasteland, a desert, the Antarctic, whatever. Superman said, nah,
well, you remember
I'm about
that?
to kill 1 million people in Metropolis with your foreheads on.
But you remember, that's what a terraforming machine was, though, in Man of Steel. Like, man, there was 2 terraforming machines that was like blasting down and like lifting up like the city. He had to go to those locations, and like kind of take those out. So they were kind of like there, and you wouldn't be able to tell Zod after taking those out. All right, let's go to a deserted place. After you took those things out, Zod was like, "All right, look, we're either gonna do this the easy way or the hard way.
No,
and he's gonna do this the hard way, bro."
No.
Zod wasn't gonna move to a different place.
That is the moment where you either tell Zod we need to go somewhere else, or you forcibly take this nigga somewhere else, bro. You're Superman. Hit this nigga across the equator. Like, bro, we're not gonna sit here and act like Superman didn't have the punching power to send Zod out of Metropolis, or at least send that nigga straight up to the sky or something, bro. Don't let everybody get blown to bits because you don't know how to keep alien invader from going through, I don't know, the New York Times or whatever. Now here's the thing.
That's
now
true,
going
but
back,
you have to suspend a lot of belief to believe they in Superman 2025 they were just able to evacuate that whole freaking city.
they weren't, but that's the point. They showed you in Man of Steel and they showed you in Batman v Superman. They couldn't evacuate these niggas. Bruce Wayne was out there trying to get niggas one by one out the city. Bro ran up to a car and said, "God damn, little girl, get out of here." First of all, worst way to try to evacuate the city. You're one guy trying to evacuate people by bit. Honestly, Bruce Wayne should have just he should have suited up and got the niggas the fuck out of there.
100%. That was for car advertisement, bro. 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They wanted to show
I
off
forgot
the
what car it
latest,
was. They was like, yeah, it was like, we gotta show this car off. Hey, Bruce, you gotta be in the car. Hey, look, can I get a Lambo like Christian Bale? Sorry, Bruce, you gotta be in this car.
right. They want to start the latest Chrysler 300 or whatever. But and so that's what makes it worse, is because Batman was me. And I hate to even put myself anywhere near Ben Affleck's Batman, but Ben Affleck's Batman was me. Because I was like, brother, you're fucking up the city. People are dying because you don't want to punch this nigga over the lake or something. Get this nigga out the city. You're a terrible hero. All right? Now pause. Let me go ahead and go. Let's go opening for opening real quick.
Okay.
Like you said, it showed the Kryptonian thing, the Kryptonian blah, blah, blah. And I do think that was a good thing because it basically got the whole Krypton origin story out the way very quickly, but in a decent package. James Gunn, what I like what he did is when he did the shit where it basically it was text, right? We didn't need to hear, because one thing I can't stand is exposition when it's forced. The way James Gunn did it, it was still exposition, but it was in a neat, quick package. Like when bro sat there and said 3 centuries ago.
Yeah,
it was pretty quick.
It didn't go for a bit.
It was like 60 seconds. It was no more than 60 seconds.
It went down to like then 3 seconds ago. I like, all right, let's kind of get to it.
But I'm saying it all
that's
started
more of a nitpick, but yeah.
Bro, every bit of dialogue lasted all of 60 seconds or less. So we're not going to sit here and act like they were pushing in our face for like an hour. So it said 3 centuries ago, first superpower beings known as metahumans appeared on Earth, ushering a new era of gods and monsters. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. 3 years ago, the baby, now grown, announced himself as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Baravia from invading, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Jaharafor, all right, I just did it anyway, sparking controversy around the world. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called Hammer of Baravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost a battle for the first time. Gas. It was perfect. I didn't need to see anybody getting blown up. I didn't need to see destruction. I didn't need somebody giving me 80 minutes of exposition. It was literally text. It was in a very digestible form. And the thing I liked about it, he used threes all the way through. 3 centuries, 3 decades, 3 years, 3 weeks, and 3 hours, 3 minutes. It was perfect.
You know what's funny about that? That means he after that scene where he got healed up, he went over there and just got beat again. So it was just
but that's the part
I just thought about that. He was like, all
Superman.
right, he just got beat for the first time. He went back over there. He got beat.
But that's what I like about this Superman, bro. Bro, my thing is, what is wrong with Superman getting beat up? What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just saying that was kind of funny that they made a big thing. He just got beat for the first time. And then first thing he just get kind of beats again. I was like, well, just so the first time he got beat, like I kind of would have liked kind of. It still wasn't bad. It's more so like of a nitpick. But then if you're gonna say 3 minutes ago he got beat for the first time, then he goes out and literally we just seen him get beat for the second time. Well, now I kind of want to see the first time. Yeah. I mean, now I kind of want to see the first time. But
get your ass beat.
That's more of a nitpick, but yeah.
here's the thing. Yeah, it's definitely a nitpick. Here's the thing. As somebody who, in my own personal life, I used to get the shit kicked out of me because I was like 4'11", right? I was getting my ass beat. Once I hit that 6 foot mark, I was like, I'm never gonna lose a fight again, right? But before that, I was getting my shit kicked in. Here's the thing. With Superman, it's okay because it's realistic. You got your ass beat. Just because you get healed and jump back out there does not mean you're not going to get your ass beat again. That nigga still knows how to fight regardless. So it makes complete sense that he got his ass beat a second time. It made sense that bro was slick getting tore up a third time, but eventually, by the third time, he was able to kind of even the playing field. Third time's a charm, and that's what happens when you get an ass whooping. A lot of niggas, if you haven't been into a altercation, a scrimmage, a fight, whatever, or if you have, you know, just because you get your ass beat and heal, and you run it and you run the fade again, you're still liable to get your ass beat again, especially if you didn't train. You basically healed yourself and jumped back out there with the same skill and got your ass beat a second time.
Yeah, it's basically like Frieza and Revenge of F, or what that movie's called.
Yeah, basically. Frieza had to go train for a couple months to even be comparable to God, like Super Saiyan God, Goku, and Vegeta. So, or Super Saiyan Blue, whatever. But that's the thing. Not Goku. Superman got healed and went right back out there and got his ass beat again. But also, granted, he was fighting a nigga who was controlled by Lex Luthor and his gang of goons or whatever, who already knew all the proper procedures to beat Superman's ass. Because remember, he's been there for 3 decades. Bro's been there for 30 years. Lex Luthor had plenty of time to learn this man's habits, his fighting style, and everything. There we go. Now, granted, the fighting style is something I also want to touch on. We're gonna touch on it right now, but I definitely want to talk about how the fights in Superman, James Gunn Superman, was better than Man of Steel. But we'll get there when we get.
You want to talk about the intro, or you want to talk about the fights?
That's just the intro. I just want to say that I think the intro was better because I hate exposition. This was very quick. It got what we needed to get out the way. And it wasn't like some nigga was just like, oh, 3 years ago, 3 centuries ago, Superman, metahumans were introduced. 3 decades ago, Superman was sent to Earth. I don't need to hear a nigga say that. Put it in text, make it 45 seconds, and then show Superman plummeting into the earth with his ass freshly kicked, and then let it go from there. I think it did it perfect. It didn't take too much time. It wasn't clunky. It was nice. So, but I also think
it was yeah. I would say compared to Superman, it was a good intro because you with this type of film, you have to get right into it because you have all these characters. You already have the competing universe, MCU. They're already kind of rocking. Everyone already knows Superman. You really don't need to kind of waste that time. So they did a creative way to kind of plunge us into it and introduce the Superman. I thought it was great. I thought it was. I thought it was good. I really haven't eaten too many complaints about it. I know he did know how to get carried about Crypto back to the thing. I will say Crypto's cool. I think he played a little bit too much of a role. Like had too many scenes a little bit, but that's just me. But when I compare it to I think maybe if he's got like 1 or 2 scenes, maybe then it would be like perfect. But it's not that. It's not a hill out and die on. I think he just had a little bit too much screen time. But I also know like Jimmy Guns likes his
they gave him that much screen time just because of Superman or just because of Supergirl movie. I feel like they're going to try to give Crypto more of a role in the Supergirl movie. So they try to really hype him up in this movie, give him a couple extra scenes because I feel like he's going to play a bigger role in the Supergirl movie. I feel like it's
See, that's why I feel like they should do the opposite. I feel like he should have like a little less time here if in the next Supergirl film he's going to play like a bigger role since it's her dog. That's just my opinion for that. Now for the intro for Man of Steel, we know he did the Krypton thing, he did all that, and I think it really sets the basis for the entire film. I think when in Superman it was more so just like a exposition thing to kind of just show what's kind of going on where they're at. Superman in the Man of Steel is like sets the basis for the entire film. When I say that, I mean because again, you see Zod's whole reasoning for first of all existing and the reason why he's doing what he's doing. In his mind, whether it's right or wrong, in his mind, he's feel like he's saving Krypton. Because say what you want, he actually like really was kind of down for Krypton. It's like he didn't like even when they sent him off, he was like, you're damning this planet. Like, but you sending us to the Phantom Zone pretty much. So in a way, his way, he felt like he's saving you. Almost kind of, how people like Doctor Doom in his next movie is really trying to save the Kurt. In a way, Zod I don't know if that. Well, we're gonna talk about that later. That's a whole different
Yeah, I don't even want
thing
to talk about
because
Doctor
there's a
Doom
lot
and
of
what it did
theories
to
and stuff like that.
Jericho.
But Zod
Yeah.
felt like he's saving his universe, or excuse me, his
Yeah.
planet. And then you on the flip side, you have Superman. When they sent him off, it was literally like they're putting like the hope or the best really the best of themselves back to into the world because they know that they've basically kind of like failed pretty much. And what's called Jor-El's like, I'm just gonna kind of try to die with a sinking ship, or not, even though he wasn't the captain, but in a way he was like a scientist of the thing. Um, so in a way, he didn't feel like he even like deserves to try to like save himself when there's all this going on. So that was basically he can do. He sent him out as like a hope that to carry on the goodness or carry on the last bit of Krypton, and that's what he kind of carried out. Was supposed to carry out in the universe, like hope. Now, obviously, in the what happened later, there was some that's on the different as far as like that symbol of hope. That's what I think they should have been working towards more so, like him becoming what you see in David Corn Sweat, being that. But essentially that's what that the intro kind of set the tone for everything. You got Zod, who's like, hey, I'm trying to say this whole shebang. Like y'all are moving crazy. I'm trying to save y'all. I'm trying to save this planet. Trying to save our people. Like y'all literally bred me, built me up, trained me to be the protector of this planet, and y'all literally squander it, and you're punishing me for it. So they man just had a mega chip on the shoulder, and then you got Superman, who's like, all right, this is like our last hope, our last bit of Krypton, our last part of us in the universe. So it said everything, and then until they eventually clash again at the end, he was like, "Hey, when he say, hey, Krypton's dead," like, I kind of was like, "Hey, look, Krypton's dead. I live on Earth, but I'm the last bit of Krypton. I'm just do what
Nigga
I
sound
can
like
as a symbol
Goku
of hope."
in that regards, bro. When Goku's like,
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
not
much.
Kakarot, nigga. I'm Goku. I'm from Earth.
Pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much the exact same
Yeah.
thing. And then I like with
Yeah.
this one, their message, like his dad's message was like they kept it on the line of, "Hey, you're our last hope. We can't do anything for our planet, Kal-El, but we'll put our hope in you. Do what you can. Got these suits for you. One got black, even a blue and gold one for you. Yeah, blue and red one. Hey, all yours, buddy." But they kind of did that, and rather with Superman, you didn't have that. They kind of twisted it the Jor-El thing to like actually you were set to conquer. I really didn't. I know we kind of talked about that off camera. I really didn't like that
Yeah.
twist,
Yeah.
but I'm
Thanks.
not trying to get too much from the beginning. But it plays into it like his dad kind of stayed he really showed that he really had two pops, like one Earthling one and one that's deceased, but they all kind of had like the same goal at the end of the day. Um,
For sure.
he didn't have to
For sure.
kind of, like just forsake a whole part of himself. Pretty much, he was like, "Yeah, I'm a Kryptonian, but I'm
I'm a
also
Crip.
an Earthling."
Yeah.
And I feel like with this one, Superman, I feel like they just try to make him, yeah, he's Kryptonian, but he's an Earthling, like pretty much. He's an Earthling
Yeah.
with just Kryptonian DNA. I feel like with
Yeah.
Man of Steel is like, all right, he's Kryptonian and he's Earthling, and he's doing the best he can on Earth, and I prefer that, in my opinion.
Ooh, let me stop you right there, brother.
Okay.
I disagree. I honestly feel
Okay.
like the movie better showed like I am a Kryptonian, but I am an Earthling more so. Because even when he heard like his parents' full message, after they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what the rest of what they're saying is or whatever," like we haven't been able to figure it out because it's kind of a busted message. And when Lex Luthor was like, "Yeah," basically showing that their parents like, "Hey, enslave them niggas, conquer them, all right, take them over. You're stronger than the Earthlings or whatever." Yeah, I didn't fuck with that part. That was actually kind of whack on James Gunn's part.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, bro is a you know what I'm saying? He's a weird guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the freaky guy. You know what I'm saying? Bro is a sexual anaconda. Anyway, so past that part though, it's I think it's more so like even past that, like I felt like bro really encompassed the entire idea of like, yeah, I'm Kryptonian, but I am an Earthling foremost, basically, I am like
Mhm,
at my basis, I'm an Earthling, and so
mhm,
even with what my parents are saying, I would never turn on the Earth and shit. Because that was the main thing he
mhm.
was saying. Like, I hear the
Yeah.
message, but I would never turn on y'all niggas because Earth is my home. Blah blah blah. So
Mhm,
I feel like in this movie, it better showed that more so.
mhm,
And also, like I said, Paul Kent didn't have to die. Just saying. And then past that part, even going over past that, you know, I also feel like in this movie, um, Superman's struggle, because like that speech that he gave to Lex Luthor was perfect. He's like, Lex, listen, nigga, like at the end of the day,
mhm,
I'm human. I
mhm,
feel, I'm worried, I have anxiety, nigga. I
mhm,
struggle, I get angry, I get sad, I get happy. I do the same human shit that you do. So why are
mhm,
you treating me as if I am not a human? Whereas like the contrast to Zod's thing is like, nigga, I'm a Kryptonian, but I'm also human, but also
mhm.
I'm not gonna prove to you that I'm Kryptonian. That's the thing that got to me. I feel like Superman, not David Cornsweet, um,
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was more like, listen, I'm a Kryptonian. I'm human, but I'm also Kryptonian. But I don't need to prove to you that I'm Kryptonian. Whereas David Cornsweet was like, I'm a Kryptonian, but I'm also an Earthling. But I don't need to really prove to you I'm an Earthling. You should just, you know what I'm saying, like see my actions. Like you should know that I'm human, nigga. I struggle like the rest of you. So
Mhm,
you really shouldn't have no beef with me. Whatever, whatever. Like I said,
mhm,
both good messages. I just like David Cornsweet's James Gunn Superman's message a little bit better.
mhm. Well,
Um,
I think in
uh,
David Cornsweet, I think that same thing. It was just, and they did have the same thing, but he really kind of expounded upon it. Because I don't know if you remember back in Man of Steel when the sergeant was like, how can we trust you and yada yada yada, and the man Henry Cavill Superman was like Senator or Sergeant, I'm from Kansas. I'm as American as it gets. Like he just so they didn't so they didn't really have all much of the speeches. He's like, hey, like
yeah,
I'm not really from here. Like I grew up here. They just didn't like go all the way down to making them like homey feel, but he was just like kind of said it as like, hey, bro, like, hey, I'm from here. You kind of, it is what it is. You either want me to help you, you don't want me to help you. Like I grew up in the same streets y'all grew up in, not literally, but figuratively speaking, pretty
now,
much.
let me
They
let me jump in on
expound
that.
upon that same amount at the same
Yeah,
level. I will say.
let me jump in on that real quick. All right, I'm
Okay.
glad that you brought that up. Uh,
Okay.
let it be known also one of the main things that you can give this Superman over Zack Snyder's Superman is the fact that this
Mm,
Superman is I don't know, actually Superman. Let's start there.
mm.
This Superman was willing to go out his way to save a fucking little girl and a squirrel. Meanwhile, that same Superman in that same scene and talking to the senator knew a bomb was about to go off. Bro is literally, from Zack Snyder's perspective, able to keep
Wait,
up
that's a
with the
different movie.
what you talking about?
That explosion wasn't in Man of Steel. That was in
Justice League, right?
was
Or
it
Batman v
might have been
Superman.
Batman vs Superman. Yeah.
Hey, listen, doesn't matter. Same Superman, all in the Snyderverse. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's just go with that for a second, all right? This same
Okay.
Superman allowed these niggas to blow the fuck up. This is the same Superman that could clock the Flash. And we see how fast the Flash is in Zack Snyder's
Wait,
universe, thanks
no,
to the
wasn't
Flash.
his wheelchair with the bomb? Wasn't it made of lead, something like that?
It doesn't matter. Bro, let me listen to me. Zack Snyder's Superman is supposedly, if we're going
Mm-hmm.
based off of that, like the whole lead
Uh-huh.
thing, if we're going based off of the fact when the explosion hit, you're basically telling me that that MCU Quicksilver, no, I'm sorry, Fox Quicksilver
Mm-hmm.
is faster than Superman because that nigga was pulling niggas out of the X Mansion while the explosion was
Mm-hmm.
going off and was able to save all those people. So you're telling me that Fox 20th Century Quicksilver is
Mm-hmm.
faster than not James Gunn, Zack Snyder's Superman, Superman, because that
Mm-hmm.
nigga literally realized when the explosion went off, he was like, nigga turned his head like, oh shit, the explosion's going off. But all I'm saying is Fox 20th Century Quicksilver
Mm-hmm.
could have saved that entire courtroom, brought everybody out that bitch, unscathed, by the way.
Yes.
But Superman out here was aura farming, like, damn, the bomb went off. I guess I'll just sit here. But this is the same Superman that was able to clock the Flash in the Justice League movie. All right? Let's also not forget that part. So not only is it
Okay.
inconsistent is not only inconsistent, it makes Superman much weaker. Whereas James
different
Gunn's
director
Superman,
too. Different director too for that scene though.
Doesn't matter. Same Zack Snyder verse. It doesn't matter. You know, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. Zack Snyder looked at the movie before it came out. We're not going to act like Zack. We're not going to act like Zack Snyder did not okay that shit. We're not going to sit here and act like that didn't happen. Zack Snyder looked at that shit and said, yeah, that's cool. I like a dark Superman. I want him to be so unconcerned that he'll let the masses blow up.
No, I'm talking about the scene where he saw the Flash, not that particular scene you're referring to.
Right, but I'm saying, you don't think Zack Snyder saw the scene? You don't think he saw Justice League and looked at that shit? And saw, bro, you've seen the Snyder cut of no.
Yes.
We've seen the Snyder cut of Justice League. We're not gonna sit here and do that. No. The Justice League has a Snyder cut, nigga. We're not gonna sit here and act like Zack Snyder had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Speed. Okay, Speed feats.
No.
Speeds are kind of tricky.
Okay, before you get into
yeah,
I know good and well we can have a full conversation about speedsters in the verse. I actually don't want to have the conversation right here, right now. I feel like it would make for a good topic in a different episode because you and I have both like had this conversation about speedsters. So I'm gonna just hold that right. Just hold that.
Yeah.
Hold that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going into detail about that, but
sure.
I was powers in general. It kind of like wonky when they write them because it's depending on like the scene. I know in another TikTok we talked about reality warping powers. It was like, well, then why don't you just do this at this point? It's wonky. Yeah. And sometimes it just like doesn't like make sense. Even like, I'm not going to all the characters where they could have did something that didn't make sense, but yeah, I mean, I agree. He definitely say more people than he did say because I remember he did have like 1 or 2 people in his arms when he came out, but yeah, everyone else is kind of blown to bits. Pretty
1
much.
or 2 out of like what 100, 250.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree that I'm not really a fan of that scene. It just could have been written like a little differently. I know it's still a mess. I knew what they were trying to do with it, just so kind of like the links there would go, kind of like to just damn his name pretty much. Yeah, now Lex Luthor was a hater of that film, not as big of a hater as Lex Luthor in this particular film, but in Superman. But
for sure.
Yeah. Did we talk about the fights?
Oh no, we didn't talk about the fights. Okay, let me go ahead and throw my hat right in there. I think that James Gunn Superman had a better fight. He was a better fighter than Zack Snyder Superman. Straight up.
Okay, well we'll go two different things. Yes, Superman 2025 was a better fighter.
Fighter? Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Superman Man of Steel
doing things like. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
But Superman Man of Steel had a better like fight or fights. But Superman 2025 was a better fighter. Just the way he utilized his powers and all that.
Here's where I disagree. Because not only did we get the greatest scene of in hero history, not hero history, but in the last five years, the best fight scene we've seen. We got Mr. Terrific, first of all. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. Yeah, and I will do that because first of all, another thing that James Gunn did do over Zack Snyder is he built a better world where he showed way more heroes by introducing Mr. Terrific. That was a good job because that man stole the show with his fucking scene, even though he was just fighting a bunch of jobbers. Even though he was just fighting a bunch of jobbers and paid actors, basically. Bro was out here handling business. All right.
Yeah.
He introduced Guy Gardner.
He had the best fighting scene in the movie.
He did,
right.
Superman. But James Gunn also showed off Guy Gardner, which led us into the understanding that the Green Lanterns are in this verse. The Hawk people, by having Hawk Girl in there, that let us know that the Hawk race is out here. You know what I'm saying? And just going straight back to Superman, his fight against the Cyborg and Ultraman was a great fight, and it actually showed Superman actually using
the woman thing.
The woman who was like a cyborg,
mechanic,
she had like the nanotech.
The engineer mechanic. I forgot her actual name. It was one of those two. But
I think she was like a cyborg. She had like nano machines.
Pretty much.
Like a cyborg.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that fight right there, here's the main thing I like. I always hated that Superman and Superman in any iteration, and most of his iterations, his main moves, and this is another reason why I didn't really care for Superman. Big punch, hammer fist, and tackling niggas and throwing them. That's his 4 main moves. He'll left right your ass to death. He'll hit your ass with a fucking one of these, a upswing hammer or a down spike or whatever. He'll tackle you at high speeds, or bro will sit here and throw you around or laser beam you. That's the main Superman motif in combat. Superman should be fighting like he actually has superpowers. I'm talking about, if I was Superman, I'm grabbing a nigga by the neck. I'm hitting him with Gatling punches at Mach speed. The way James Gunn did this one with David Cornsweet Superman, bro was doing like little tornado spins, like little crazy shit like that. Bro actually threw a kick for once in who knows how long. We got to see Superman throw a damn kick, a headbutt. Bro was actually out here legitimately scrapping, which is good. I'm tired of Superman just only using his fist and brawling niggas out. I'm tired of that shit. It's weak. Also, if I remember correctly, he uses frost breath in this movie too. Correct, right?
I
remember him using his frost breath.
Yeah.
Exactly. Bro was using the full scale of his abilities, and he was using them in comic book ass ways. This is also why I don't really care for a lot of people. Like, it was so cartoony, so comic-y. That's what it is. Like, this felt like a comic book come to life, and I really enjoyed it. Whereas Zack Snyder's Superman was big punch, big hammer fist, eye beams, tackling through a building, whatever. And I guess the way he killed Zod, you got a neck snap out of that, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah,
so yeah,
and
I definitely.
And those fight scenes are a lot more like memorable and hold more. I feel like this held a lot more weight than Superman's fights. Now I give it this, and I think in A2, Mr. Rip had a better fight against Grunts than
you're saying that Man of Steel's fights held, like, what you saying that Man of Steel's held solid,
had
more solid.
Like, it just felt like it was had more like gravity. I felt like it had more weight than the fights in Superman, because Superman's fight, and we're talking about like physical fighting. The problem is with Superman's fight, it really wasn't, for the most part. The brawls wasn't really the antithesis. It was Lex Luthor, which I do appreciate. I appreciate them doing something different with Superman and not just being like a brawl, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the vice versa with Man of Steel had just better fights, because it was more so geared towards that type of film. This is more so, metahuman Kryptonian versus human, more so anything. But of course, he had to use a metahuman to, like, show some type of conflict, or almost try to be superior. Say, I beat you by creating something better than you, pretty much. But to me, it just wasn't. When I think about the fight, I kind of, remember when they did the thing where it was in his mouth, and then he like drove him pretty much from space down to the ground. Well, some of the engineer thing.
Hey,
all these, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, when the nano machines were covering his face and going in his lungs and shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that part. I remember all that. And then how they were still like kind of punching him in the face, or punching him in like the chest and all that. But when I think about the fights in Superman, I don't think about the fights. I'm also talking about like Mr. Terrific, that part. The fights not what really kind of made the film. It was just more so part of the film, because they had to have some type of physical things like going on, more so.
Yeah.
Even when he first fought the Baravia guy in the beginning, which was still Ultraman, same villain pretty much. Even that wasn't anything too crazy. But when I think of Man of Steel, like, I remember like the fights when he fought what's the name, and the tall dude like in the city and all that, and it was like tagging him. They were like put him in a spin cycle. Then he tried to catch Fiora. Then the big dude like grabbed him out of cape and like flung him. The iconic scene where he was flying in the sky, he hit Zod, and they kept that camera on him, and then he punched him again in the sky. Like, those things kind of like just hit more for like the fights and all that. But I will say that, if Man of Steel and Superman got in the fight, I think David Corso is going to win, because he uses his abilities more. He's like has some mega strength feats, and also he just built his like more creatively. Like Henry Cavill will have a time with him. Because at university he was just kind of, just using just
Yeah.
straight up like strength versus technique. But for as which fights I prefer the Man of Steel fights. But the Mr. Frick fight was the most out of all of them. I think Mr. Frick had one like most creative, like dope fights, dope like scene, dope music to it. It was just dope. But overall, Man of Steel to me had a better. Oh, so you're talking about Superman? Man of Steel had the better fights for sure.
And you know what? The thing I like about this conversation is that we are both two individuals who can agree to disagree when it comes down to this. You know what I'm saying? And granted, you were the first person to say, hey, man, look, we might not see eye to eye to this, but granted, it's pretty much nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because, like, hearing you say, like, the fights in Man of Steel were better than the fights in Superman and James Gunn Superman, insanity to me, right? Crazy, ridiculous, honestly. I'm like, bro, I'm thinking about that fight when them niggas were in the baseball field, like, going at it, bro. Bro, Superman was fucking going crazy in that mug, bro. Like, oh my God. Shawty was throwing the fucking buzzsaws at this nigga, bro. It was so good, bro. It was so good. Superman's fight against Ultraman, bro, was like wrestling that nigga, bro. When they were fighting in like the little, like near the little black hole and shit, he was actually like using like, bro was actually like scrapping down, bro. Like put this nigga in the fucking, bro. Let me tell you something. Nothing in Man of Steel to me, like as somebody who I love a good fight scene. I love a good fight scene. I know you do too, as well. We actually have that in common. That's why we also think Avengement, the movie Avengement with Scott Adkins, is top tier movie because like the
So
fight
just rewatch
choreography is
that.
so good. Bro, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. We just come on here and talk about Avengement, bro, on one day. But Scott Adkins got the he got the motherfucking hands, bro. But for me, James Gunn Superman, like the fight scenes were just like it felt fresh, bro. I'm tired. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing Superman spam the same big punch, eye beam, tackle, and hammer fist, bro. I'm trying to see something different. So
his fights felt like it was coming from like actual superhero.
It felt like it was
They
coming from
weren't
like a
trying to
comic,
like
bro.
make it. It was more comic in a good way.
Yeah.
I was trying to make it like I would say even this about like Dark Knight, how they try to use some type of special. Okay, yeah, people use this and this kind of like a good technique, but it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just I don't know, use your batarang or something like that. Do something like it. Even though the warehouse scene with Batman, I know that's touted as like one of the best Batman fights in the Batman versus Superman film, which I think is pretty. I think it's pretty good as well. I had to rewatch. I think it's slightly over. It's not, and I loved it. And it's gonna feel like I love it. Some people be kind of gassing it just a bit, but it is a great scene. Gas just a bit, but a great scene.
I ain't gonna lie. I'd say it's gas
And I hate
pretty
to say
good.
it.
Like, bruh, honestly, Robert Patterson's The Batman on the rafters when bro took that fucking adrenaline and was fighting niggas up there. Far better scene. Far better scene. Far better scene. I think that was good for the moment, but like, nah, that warehouse, it was cool. Definitely overrated.
Yeah, and I think it was more so because if that scene felt a little bit more kind of like the animated kind of like version the way he was taking people out. And I will say that Batman was a little more brawly too. He was a lot more kind of akin to the old Batman. So the way he was gonna doing people up, he was like, I'm not just gonna use his martial arts. I'm just about to, I'm about to slam you down, bro. Yeah. So, and I think people haven't really seen because the difference with Christian Bale Batman, he was just gonna like piece you up with his elbows. This Batman was like, no, I'm like throwing you through the wall. Like, so.
But that's also the reason why I be like, look, it's cool. It's overrated in comparison to Robert Patterson. Because you remember when Robert Patterson was fighting them niggas in the subway, bro? Robert Patterson was
shot.
That nigga was big. I thought bro was big in the shit out. That one dude that looked like the nostalgia critic, bro. Yeah, son. Yeah, that man was just like, bro, was sitting there with the little clown face on, like, bro, what the fuck is Patterson beat the dog shit out that man, bro. Brawled him straight up. So I'm like, yeah, bro.
Robert Pattinson, he definitely had some decent fights. And it scene in the hallway where it kept flashing every time somebody shot.
Yeah.
And it just showed him when he like, going through. Yeah, he definitely has some good scenes, but yeah.
For sure.
But no, back to Superman. Dang, that was something I want as like a last point. I just lost my train of thought though.
Oh damn.
Um, Dang. Well, as you know, yeah, overall, I still did prefer the Man of Steel as a movie, um, over Superman. But I think one thing I do like about both the actors they chose, they actually, regardless of what you say about Henry Cavill as well, they're actually passionate about that, like the characters. I feel like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
if you gave him Henry Cavill a different script, he definitely would have like still killed it. Obviously, can't do that now. Obviously, it's too late. But no, I think they're both kind of passionate. They just had different like directions, and they wanted to it Man of Steel almost kind of reconstruct the character and kind of make them into build them up to like this hope and all that. And they kind of did it to where they went the route of like we're gonna make him like a martyr, and then people are gonna be like realize, oh yeah, maybe he wasn't so bad. I felt like that just wasn't the route to do that. Just go ahead and start him off with that, and then later on, like kind of kill him. He kind of did it backwards. He was like he gonna do these things in the background and kind of make him a martyr, and then realize, and people
Yeah.
realize, okay, maybe we do need Superman. Maybe he is like a symbol of hope. Yada yada. It was just a backwards way of doing that. And I think James Gunn he just flipped that. Let's just do that forwardly. If we're gonna kill Superman, it'll be like 10 years down, 10, 15 years down the line. I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
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 So yeah. But no, those pretty much my thoughts that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Oh, I will say
For sure. For sure.
they both had some decent black actors as Perry.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, they actually
Oh,
kind of
oh
both
yeah.
killed that casting because Lawrence
I was about to say
Fishburne was the
yeah.
other one, and dang, what's his name? Wendell Pierce. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He was the one
Yeah.
for this one. Yeah, I wish it actually gave him more to do. Like if it's one, Lawrence Fishburne had more to do in Man of Steel than Wendell
Yeah.
Pierce in
Well,
this
the
one
thing
because
is, I
he
think
was actually killing it.
they really took his role and they gave it more so to like Jimmy Olsen. They gave Jimmy Olsen a
Yeah,
lot more screen time in this one, for sure.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I enjoyed. Like Jimmy, it was funny seeing Jimmy being like a
Jimmy was
ladies'
funny.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jimmy was
yeah,
funny as
yeah,
hell,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I do
I
wish
messed with
for
him for
both
sure.
films they actually spent a little bit more time into like the Daily Planet, just kind of like showing like the happenings of that his like actual work day of him kind of like having to seeing something outside like a alien or something happen outside and him dipping out and them like, hey, well, where'd Clark go? And they see Superman, take something out. And then Clark comes back,
Yeah,
fixing his glass and just had to use the restroom or something, something like that. I wish both films kind of did that. I mean, kind of definitely kind of boosted both movies, but I get it. You kind of had a lot to kind of do,
yeah, yeah.
pretty
You
much.
only got
So
so much time. Yeah, you only got so much time. So
yeah, it can't
yeah,
all be like Smallville, where that was kind of almost 80% of doing that.
yeah,
80% of just Clark life. Shout out to Smallville.
tight shit. Yeah, shout out to Smallville, bro. For
Yeah.
sure. I completely agree. Like I said, at the end of the day, realistically speaking, it all comes down to preference. There really is
Mm.
no right answer. Honestly. I understand if you're a fan of Zack Snyder or you're a fan of James Gunn or whatever, but bro, it really ain't that deep. Honestly, I feel like you can just have a discussion about this shit, kind of get it over with. Cause neither one of these niggas give a damn about none of y'all. Realistically speaking, James Gunn is still gonna be a freaky frog at the end of the day, and Zack Snyder is still gonna be a depressed ostrich. Um, so there's really nothing you can really do about it. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations to both of them because they both came out here and they still made damn good films that withstood the test of time at the end of the day.
Which one do
Uh
you think, 10 years down the line, which one do you think is going
Superman. James Gunn
to
Superman.
do that?
James Gunn
Okay.
Superman.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
It's James Gunn Superman is just gonna I think James Gunn Superman would just hit for not only like the darker comic book
Mhm.
fans, but I think James Gunn Superman hits for like old school. And like I know for a fact, if I showed my dad James Gunn Superman, he'd be
Mhm. And I think too, another thing is if James Gunn succeeds in building this universe, then this will be like the film that they kind of look at. Oh yeah, this kind of really set the tone for all of this. If it becomes like a successful expanded universe. So yeah, I get that. I hope it succeeds. I think Man of Steel definitely will have a place for me. But hopefully this universe still succeeds because I definitely want to see like a dope John Stewart or Green Lantern.
Oh,
Especially and
oh
then
yeah.
interact with the Justice League. Like I just want them to pull that off. Honestly, to pull that off, bro, I'll be happy. So
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
see.
I mean, you got Aaron Pierre coming through. He's gonna do his thing.
Aaron
You know what I'm saying?
Pierre.
I mean, it's funny. Well, I tried to watch. I never watched Rebel Ridge, right? So I was chilling with a shawty. I was chilling with a shawty recently, and we were watching Rebel Ridge and everything,
Yeah,
and it was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really
it's a
watch
decent
all of it.
film.
I was like, I was in and out, so I'm probably gonna like rewatch it again because it seemed like it was gonna be a good film. Uh, and whatnot. So yeah. But like going off his acting based in there, I feel like, bro he clearly got the acting chops. I feel like he's gonna
Oh
make a
yeah,
decent
yeah,
John Stewart. Granted, I wouldn't have cast Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, but I think he'll do fine in the role.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
yeah. So I think what they got going right now, I feel like the universe could really flourish as long as nobody just does anything crazy. Mainly James Gunn. I feel like he's the nigga that would probably end up ruining the verse, doing something ridiculous like
I
I
was
don't
like,
know, fucking
keep Ezra far off. Unless you don't have no Ezra Miller situation. So that also kind of started
He
to
dropped
ruin
Ezra Miller, bro.
the
No,
DCU.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, I know that.
no, no, no.
Because you
Yeah,
also you remember like during when the DCU was kind of like going to figure out what it was gonna do. They had not only the Ezra Miller going crazy in all states. That was like the
that didn't
Amber
kill
Heard situation.
Yeah,
With Johnny Depp, it was just like every like prominent actor that just kept having some huge issue. Then there was
yeah,
like Ben Affleck was having some drinking issues. I was like, they was just like, we got a Candiverse.
yeah.
But
Scrap
it
the
was
whole
just a
thing,
lot
bro.
going on, bro. It was a lot going
Yeah,
on. But yeah, but I'm glad, I'm glad they seem to be doing something good.
yeah.
They're now
Um,
trying to say BTS with all this BTS stuff coming out. With actually, maybe we should talk about that off camera.
yeah. We
They're out
definitely have to
here
talk about off camera.
they're trying to
I think
ruin
definitely
relationships
next
with the
episode.
BTS scenes.
I think for sure next episode. I'm pretty sure we'll have some other topics, but I'll probably make sure that
Yeah.
we toss the old Marvel thing because there's a lot of leaks and
Mhm.
rumors coming out about Doomsday and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
So definitely want to make sure we hop on that, talk about that shit while it's still hot. But that's pretty much it for me, bro. Like I said,
Okay.
anybody else, like I said, no matter what movie y'all like, you know what I'm saying, they're both good at the end of the day. Which
Yeah.
one you think is better definitely comes down to preference. As you can see, you know what I'm saying? We've had this whole conversation. No love has been lost. I don't hate this man. He doesn't hate me. So it's capable. You're completely capable of liking two completely different things, y'all, and still being cool. That being said, you got anything else you want to add, bro? Because I'm getting kind of hungry. I need to feed myself.
Oh no, that's it. No, I had a hefty dinner. Honestly, I can go another 30 minutes, but yeah. I
Hey, that's
see that
crazy.
you're
Not me.
I guess since you
Yeah.
need some sustenance, I guess we're
Right.
going
I got
and
nothing but alcohol in my system, bro. I gotta suck up this alcohol. Anyway,
yeah,
that being
we're a little bit
said,
over anyway, our normal time. So yeah,
oh, good, perfect. Well, anyway, that gives us a ton of
yeah.
content. Like I said, so this is more comic book oriented, this episode, y'all. I know y'all like the little anime comic book back and forth. So, we'll try to make sure we throw some anime in next time. That being said, man, y'all be good out here. Now, I guess go read a book and wash your ass. And
Nerd cap out.